So far this year has been kind of chaotic from a personal perspective, but at least in the smartphone market, we are seeing some pretty cool things happening for power users. Yes, a lot of recent upgrades have been kind of minute. Small expected upgrades, should I even say a little bit boring. But this year, phones have been exceeding my major expectations for the first time in a long while, and I hope this trend continues. And I hope the new Samsung Galaxy S25 Ultra also blows me away. Now yes, a lot of that has to do with AI enhancements, but even without that, we've got new chipsets, new batteries, new charging tech, and heat dissipation technology, and better software, which have really improved experiences. This video is sponsored by YubiKey. Go to my link below to automatically get a discount off your next YubiKey 5 NFC or 5C NFC purchase with updated firmware and start securing your accounts today. So this is the new Samsung Galaxy S25 Ultra. It is $1299.99. It's available in several different colors, all of these that you can see here. I actually purchased the titanium pink gold color, but I also have this temporary review unit from Samsung. This is the titanium silver blue colorway. You can actually buy them all in 256, 512, or 1TB models, though Samsung does have a deal going on at time of recording where you can get the 512 gig model for the same price as the 256 gig model. So you might as well opt for double the storage for the same price. Now I don't have anything special to report on unboxing, but you will immediately notice some differences in the design of the new S25 Ultra. The Corning Gorilla Armor 2 glass is on the front and the back. It does avoid fingerprints really well, and Samsung also removed the IMEI, which used to be printed on the back of their phones, and I really appreciate that they removed it for better privacy and security. The titanium frame color does match the back glass, though the colors are quite muted with all these titanium additions. You know those 6-digit codes that you get via text message or email to log in? Well, it turns out they are super easy to steal. Malicious actors can phish them by tricking you into telling them the code. They can intercept those codes by spying on your PC, or they can even steal your phone number in a SIM swap attack. Yeah, big yikes. That's why I never rely on text messaging for two-factor authentication anymore. If the site allows, I instead use YubiKeys, which are hardware security keys that cannot be phished. They work by requiring physical access to log in. No codes to steal, no fake websites tricking you. You have to physically plug in the YubiKey in order to log in instead of typing in a 6-digit code. The YubiKey intelligently knows whether or not a website you are trying to log into is actually real. So even if you type your banking credentials into a fake bank website that's run by a hacker, the YubiKey will not allow you to log in. And with the updated YubiKey Authenticator app, you can now protect your 6-digit codes with a YubiKey. So all those websites that still only accept 6-digit codes can be protected too. That means even if somebody gets into your phone, they cannot access your codes without your key. We love YubiKeys here at the Morse Code Studio, and we've been using them as a security upgrade for more than a decade. Security should be simple, and YubiKey really makes it easy. So if you are ready to upgrade your logins, head to my link down below to automatically get a discount off your next YubiKey 5 NFC or 5C NFC purchase and start your security upgrade today. Special thanks to YubiKey for sponsoring this episode. Now this is a big boy. It's 7.69 ounces, 162.8 millimeters tall, so it's pretty tall. IP68 waterproofing is also included, so this will do just fine for ski trips or just when I'm out shoveling the snow. There's also a huge difference in the casing style, with the new S25 Ultra having this really curved edge. I love this curved edge, as opposed to the S24 Ultra, which had pretty sharp corners. This does make it a little bit more comfortable to hold, even if the size of the phone is almost exactly the same. Stereo speakers are Dolby Atmos. They're found down here as well as one at the top. They are clean, they get comfortably loud, and there is decent bass for a pair of smartphone speakers. On the bottom, we've got the SIM slot, USB-C, and your S Pen. You'll notice this display is huge. It's 6.9 inches, and my local friends really got a kick out of this teeny tiny bezel around the edges, which makes the screen look like it almost covers the entire front glass. Now, it's a small feature, but that makes a really big impact whenever comparing to last year's model. A bezel-less design is beautiful, but there needs to be a little bit of space, in my opinion, there, especially if you prefer to put a case on your phone. The resolution can be increased in the settings to 3120 by 1440. That's Quad HD+. It's an AMOLED 2X display with a dynamic refresh rate of 120 Hz, giving you smooth and buttery scrolling and animations. The anti-reflective display is back this year, and when I tilt this so that I'm pointing it at my lights in my studio, it's really not reflecting those lights, and it looks so good. I love it. I hope Samsung continues to offer this because it looks fantastic. Also, I never put a screen protector on my S24 Ultra last year, and it still looks fantastic. So I can, from experience, say that the displays are very durable. But if you are worried, grab a screen protector. If you get a glossy one, it's gonna remove the perks of that anti-reflective display, but that's a very small sacrifice for protection. We've got 2600 nits peak brightness. That is plenty to see this phone in full sunlight. I had no issues there. It also gets super dim, so it's great for not waking up your spouse at night if they go to bed earlier than you. Onto the cameras, I am a really big fan of this Epic ultra-wide lens upgrade. It's now up to 50 megapixels, so the main camera does an excellent job with fine little details. It did not over-sharpen my Sailor Moon merch photos because yes, I do have a Sailor Moon YouTube channel. It's called Sailor Snubs. Go figure. And that natural bokeh is really gorgeous. I still do prefer the natural aperture over the portrait mode for most realistic looking blurry backgrounds. I think it looks way better. This phone does bring out some saturation when it comes to red and pink hues, so you might want to lower that warmth a little bit if you're doing some editing. And I would often switch to the 2x zoom for macro photos instead of 1x zoom to give me a clearer shot. I still experience some graininess and some noise in low light settings, such as when I'm taking photos at a restaurant, but the night photography looks really good. That ultra wide does give you some more clarity and more accurate colors, and that higher megapixel count also gives you more options in terms of video recording. Like now, you can go up to 8K with the ultra wide lens. In general, our skin tones look accurate, the photos were cleaner and sharper, color is balanced really well, even with some seriously harsh backlighting. The zoom is good, but it's still a potato after those first couple of built-in optical links, which are available up to 5x zoom. Anything after that loses a lot of detail and gets pretty grainy. Now here I have some tests with video so you can check out the audio and the video stabilization yourself.
Shake. No. Shake. Good. Good job. Okay, here you go. Good girl.
Whoa, there she goes. Good job. I do want to mention here, it's also able to record log video, which means that you get tons of versatility in terms of color grading and correction. I feel like most users are not going to use log video because it just adds extra editing, but if you are a videographer and if you want that control, it's now available to us. Moving on to the selfie or the front-facing lens, this is a 12 megapixel f2.2 lens. The autofocus here works really well, and I also have some video on the front-facing lens for you to check out here. I think I've taken like 15 of these videos throughout the years, but yeah, we're on Shibuya Scramble again for the 17th time. I do think that most of my selfies on this lens looked really great, and overall I really enjoyed the performance of this selfie or front-facing lens. Now speaking on performance, I did not have any performance issues with this phone overall, which is pretty awesome. The new Qualcomm Snapdragon 8 Elite chipset paired with 12 gigs of RAM gets you some pretty great speedy performance. I was playing Genshin Impact on here to test my phones. I always play Genshin Impact, and it handled the game really great at higher graphics graphic settings, so I was able to choose high settings and it worked wonderfully. My 3D Mark benchmarks again exceeded those expected scores, and during all this testing, the phone managed to dissipate heat really well. Like, it did not get hot. I was pretty impressed. Of course, Samsung offers their One UI software. After an update, mine is now on One UI 7.0 on this Android 15 phone, and that does come with some bloatware, but Samsung also has lots of handy tools that separate it from the competition. The built-in S Pen, though it is missing Bluetooth, it still works great for note-taking and writing and drawing, making precise edits to a video or a photo, if you will. Samsung's DeX is supported and the new AI tools are really handy, but I often forget to use them compared to my own muscle memory. I have to remind myself, oh yeah, there's lots of AI tools that I can use now. There are some minimal changes with the UI, such as swiping down from the right or the left for notifications or settings. If you use an iPhone, this is gonna look really familiar to you. The updated Gallery app is definitely better, but I'm gonna be honest here, who here is not using Google's Photos app? I use Google Photos app way more often. A big question I've seen a lot of people ask online, as well as some of my friends whenever we're hanging out in person, is AI actually useful now? Well, let me show you a real world example of how I use AI. Last night I was playing Magic the Gathering with my friends. One of them pulled out this card, it's in a different language, and I used Gemini's circle to search to recognize and translate the card for me and tell me what its abilities are right then and there. Not that my friends would lie about their creature's abilities, they never would do that, but I don't immediately recognize cards, so it's really nice to have somewhat of a cheat sheet just in case I need to refer back to it. The S25 line also comes with access to their premium AI model till the end of the year. I have no idea how much that's gonna cost, so I don't want to depend on its abilities if it means more cost in the future. I don't want to have to buy a subscription just to use my smartphone to its full potential. We are already paying top dollar for phones in the US market, and it's probably going to get even more expensive. One of the really useful tools is AI Select. I have to say, AI Select is pretty freaking useful. I use it a lot to make selections on the screen without having to copy and paste things. The Now brief, which is located right here, this is actually something I open, but I hope that it gets smarter in the future. Right now, mine is pretty sparse, so I would like to see more data. I actually was able to have a human speak conversation with Gemini Live about the Sailor Moon Super live show that's happening next month, or this month, depending on when you're watching it. There's this big show happening in the United States, so I was asking it all sorts of questions about when it's happening and when the doors open and where are tickets available and what hotel is closest to it and all sorts of different things, and it answered really well. Now, I did have a problem though. I asked it to add a calendar event for the Sailor Moon Super live performance that's happening in Seattle. It did do that, but it only blocked out 1 hour, which is also the default for my calendar, so maybe that's why. But the actual show doors open an hour before, and the show itself is supposed to last at least like 90 minutes or 2 hours, so it should block out all of that time, and you think that it would for a show. Now, there are many other new AI features and many updates to ones that we have learned how to use last year. I have compiled a tutorial video of 30 plus tips and tricks that you can watch on my channel. I know, there's a lot of different things that you can do with this phone. Keep an eye out for that video if you're curious how to like really get down to the nitty-gritty in terms of using this phone. This phone comes equipped with an ultrasonic fingerprint reader. It's really fast and reliable, especially if you don't have a screen protector on there. And the face unlock in here works fine. I didn't have any issues with it. Samsung Knox also offers encryption too. Now, this phone is really fast. Wi-Fi 7 is supported, so these are my speed tests on my Wi-Fi 7 network. There's also Bluetooth 5.4. It's great for connectiveness. Calls were crystal clear. All this data will vary depending on your own networks though, so keep that in mind. There's a 5,000 milliampere hour battery in here. It's the same as last year, which is kind of a disappointment, but I am seeing some really good screen on time. I'm seeing 6 or 7 hours of screen on time once my battery is down to about 30%, so I can get upwards of 9 hours of screen on time by the time it's down to 0. I do wish the charging speeds were faster, especially the wireless charging. Now, technically it's not MagSafe compatible unless you're using a bunch of accessories. Like, I have a MagSafe battery right here, and it charges the phone wirelessly, but it doesn't stick to it like it should if it actually supported MagSafe products. You can grab grab yourself a MagSafe case and use MagSafe accessories on this phone, including MagSafe batteries, as long as they can charge through the case that you're using. So it's kind of compatible, but not really. And that does add quite a bit of fun options, and it does add some convenience, but Samsung does warn that the S Pen capabilities might get disrupted by magnets in MagSafe accessories. Now, wired charging maxes out at 45 watts, and that will get you from 0 to 100 in 75 minutes. It also supports 15 watts wireless charging, but OnePlus offers much faster charging options. Now, technically speaking, the S25 Ultra complies with the Wireless Qi 2.1 standard. Now, the Wireless Qi 2.1 standard supports up to 25 watts wireless, but I have not seen it charge at those speeds. I am spoiled for fast charging, and I would love to see faster wireless charging in here. At the end of the day, it's a very minor upgrade in terms of specs from the S24 Ultra. The loss of the S Pen Bluetooth capabilities and functionality might be an issue for some, and charging speeds could be faster to compete with other brands. I do love the display, and some of the AI features are really cool, and the cameras are very, very good on here. So it's not a win-win across the board, but it is a slight upgrade. But I would love to know what you think. Drop me a comment down below. Let me know what you think of the S25 Ultra, or if there is another phone that you're considering upgrading to this year. Let me know if you're interested in reviews as well. If you are interested in seeing those 30+ tips and tricks on how to use this phone like a prosumer, then make sure to stick around, because I invested a ton of time making that video, and I also turned it into 30 different shorts, so you can watch every single one separately. But until then, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye y'all!